Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny, Fruit Market, Node.js, Backends, and App API Insight. Today we need to develop this. Here the items updates, item deletes API we need to develop here, and as well as need to update here the item image. Three API we need to develop here. Need to how to create, need to explain in details. First of all, need to items image updates API we need to develop here. First of all, need to copy this here, this API for the item add, and we need to give this here the name item update image, and we need to remove this here the parameters inside. We need to give this here the item underscore id. These parameters only we need to need here for the here, like here's we need to set here. Now we need to found this here, and then to updating this here the image, we need to call this here the update query. We need to go here, and we need to unused codes we need to remove here for the here, like this. And we need to remove here the status and only give this here the modified dates. We need to needs, and to give this here the defaults value as a now functions we need to pass here, and also need to set here the question mark. Then after we need to set this here the item id, and like this value, and conditions we need to status is not deleted is equal to not equal to 2, like this query need to pass here, and we need to paste this here the code. And we need to like, and to replace this here this query, and to put this here, now we need to give this here the image names. We need to first of all the provide this here the image files, and then after we need to providing this here the request object dots. We need to pass this here the item id, and zero index value need to pass this here, and to returning this here. Then after we need to give this here the payloads, and to give this here the new image payloads need to return here. Need to write down here the image, and to set this here the image new files, like here's, and we need to set here the plus. We need to set configurations are the needs for here. Need to set this here the urls. We need to get this here the helper dots. We need to get this here the image paths. Functions need to put here, so need to already write here. We need to give this here image path. Now need to go here, and to bind this here helper dot image path functions. We need to call combine this with here, and to give this here the path, and to update item image updated successfully, like this message we need to pass, and to save this here the API. And this is the image updates API we need to done here. Same as now need to develop here the modifications here, the updating this here the item details we need to update. That's why I need to creating here the another API app dot post, and to call this here the slash API slash admin slash, and to write down here the item update, like here's we need to give this API names, and we need to create here the request and response, like this sets here. Then after we need to call this here the helper dot delogs, and to pass this here the request dot body, and to print this here the parameters. Now where we need to save this here the request object inside the request dot body, we need to save this all value. Now we need to check this here the access tokens. We need to pass here the request dot headers. We need to pass here, and we need to give this here the other parameters. We need to pass this here the response, and then after we need to get this here the user objects if here the valid access. Then we need to get this here the user, and we need to check this is a specific here the shop owners, otherwise admins that's trying to access this here the API, otherwise not access, like this need to conditions we need to put here. So now need to check this here the parameters gets here the API need to not any missing parameters need to check here. So need to call this here the helper dot check parameter valid functions need to call here. So now need to give this here the response, and then after need to set this here the request object. So need to pass here, and to check this here the needed key we need to put here. So now need to needed case inside we need to need this here the item ID. Then after need to need this here the item name, and we need to change this here the categories. Need to modify here multiple categories here, and then after we need to give this here the description. So need to also set here, like this value need to passing here, and we need to configure this here for this data. Now this is are the configurations we need to needs here, and to configures. Then after we need to get this here the blank callbacks. We need to return if here the valid. So need to get this here the next steps you need to follow this here the request dot, and to call this here the updates query you need to write down here, you need to open this here SQLs, you need to remove this here this value, you need to need here, and to not change this here the main categories, need to always change here the subcategory. Give this here the options. If you change here the main category, first of all you need to delete this here the wrong items, you need to delete, and to new again you need to write down new items. Like this, we need to write down here the codes, and we need to set this years this data, and we need to set like this years, and then after we need to no need here the updates image, we need to clean here, and after we need to set this here the question mark image names, item names, then after we need to set this here descriptions, and now modify question, now set here, and to items set here the question mark and status not equal to true. Like this, need to set here the update query, need to put here, and now need to pass this here the parameters, and after need to get this here the response, and results we need to returning this here for this data. Now if here gets any errors, then to call this here the helper throw HTML errors, we need to pass this here the errors and response, and we need to return these functions. And now if we need to get this here the result affected row more than zero, means here the successfully updates inside the database, and to return this here the successful payloads request dot JSONs, and we need to pass this here the request, need to set here the one, and we need to set this here the message item updated successfully. Need to typo here, so need to fix this here like here, and now need to set here the false response. If here the fail this API, then to write down here the MSG fails. Like here, so response you need to pass this here. Now need to pass this here the value. Request object dots need to give this here the category IDs need to pass here. Then after request object dots need to pass this here the item name. Then after request object dots need to pass this here the descriptions, and this value we need to pass, and last ones we need to give this here the request object dot item id, also need to pass specific this id records we need to updating inside the database. Like this we need to write down here the query, and to this item updates query need to write down here the updated API we need to done here. Now same as we need to create here the delete API, we need to first of all the copy this API, and we need to paste this here, and to write down here the delete like here's, and to need this here the only item IDs for the need here's, and to change this here the query inside need to set here the status is equal to need to set here the 2, and we need to remove this here the another columns need to non needs need to clean this here, and same as now need to clean this here the another parameters, so need to clean here, and to change this here the message deleted successfully, and to save this here item deletes API we need to quickly done here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.